Wednesday, August 14th, 2024. And the media is not our friend. Um, I was starting to get a little hopeful when uh when Trump gave that ridiculous press conference last week and people were like, ugh, ugh. But since then, they have gone on some sort of offensive with Tim Walz, which is just kind of ridiculous. Like he's my favorite thing that's happening this season with him is that everybody's putting on social media like he's the Midwestern dad. Like Tim Walz slipped $20 in my pocket just to make sure I had gas money to get home, and you know Tim Walz just showed me how to retile my bathroom. It's like it's just super cute stuff. Anyway, so they're harping on him. JD Vance has gone on this thing about the stolen valor, that he's lied about his military record. He misspoke in 2018 at something, talking about trying to get assault weapons out of the hands of people, and said, like the kind that I carried in war, and he didn't ever actually carry an assault weapon. um and he wasn't actually in a war zone. And JD Vance should probably shut the fuck up about that, because his only job at the war zone was as was to correspond. Like he was a journalist, some sort of, like, he wasn't fighting in a foxhole. He was writing stories about the other people that were actually doing the fighting. So fuck you, JD Vance. JD Wentworth. Catch fucker. Anyway, so they're picking on him, and the media's going along with this bullshit. Today I saw ABC News said Walz said their ABC News said that Walz claimed to be the only candidate having been a union member, and ABC News said false. This is false, and uh, because Trump had been in SAG-AFTRA for a while before he got kicked out of SAG-AFTRA, because of the acts that he committed during his presidency. Um, and what Walz actually said was, I'm told I am. Like, he was just repeating something that he had heard. So, again, probably not the best idea. Maybe he should have fact checked that before he said it, but he said it. But he didn't. He did caveat it by saying, "I'm told I was blah blah blah." And I think you're really reaching it, and especially to go as far as to say this is false, when ABC News has never outright said anything about Trump's blatant lies being absolute false. They've said misleading, mischaracterization. Um, so it's just a general reminder that the media is not going to be our friend through this whole thing. And uh, the other thing that I found interesting, Trump has not really been campaigning much. Um, Apparently, there's some sort of trouble with his plane, and so the plane that he's using to get around is actually rented from whoever bought Jeffrey Epstein's plane. He's flying around in Jeffrey Epstein's old plane. He couldn't land in Bozeman, Montana for his rally there last week because he owes the airport something like $60,000 in fees that he's never paid them. And I think part of the reason that he's uh, not doing so much campaigning, Secret Service told him he can't do outdoor rallies anymore, but he's having trouble doing indoor rallies because no one will work with him. No one will let him rent them because he never pays for them. I guess he's doing a thing in North Carolina, and someplace in Asheville was like, you can do a rally here, but you have to pay up front. You can't do it unless we're paid for it before you get in here. So I think that his poor business practices are catching up with him. Um, he hasn't been able to come up with any kind of line of attack against Kamala other than just regurgitating everything that he said about Joe Biden. I'm surprised he hasn't said she's old yet, just by mistake. Um, and it does feel like a little bit, even though the press is doing its best to give him a pass on everything and boost him, that fucking New York Times can go straight to hell. Uh, it does feel like this momentum has really shifted, and it I have to say it makes me very nervous to see poll numbers go up in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, because I don't want that to create any complacency with voters. Um, we need to make sure that we are getting out there, making sure people vote, and not letting anyone else, not letting it rely on anyone else's responsibility. Um, we still have to do the work. It's 85 days or something until the election is over. Um, we have early voting, mail-in voting. We need to vote in as big a numbers as possible to make this too difficult to seal. The Republican Party has already started the legal process of challenging election results. They're getting themselves ready, writing the briefs that that they need to challenge any election results, particularly in swing states that might be really close. But if we win places like Florida, or God forbid, something like, not God forbid, God willing, and there's no God, I don't know what I'm saying, something, a place like Missouri, which is a huge long shot, but there's a lot going on right now in Missouri uh, with reproductive rights, uh, people being mad at Josh Hawley. It could drive out a huge Democratic turnout in that state. I'm not going to get my hopes up. I do think Hawley is in danger of losing that seat, which would be great for us. Um, but uh, you know, if some of these states that they don't think are necessarily in play suddenly become in play, this could become a very interesting race. Um, but it's going to be um, we got a long road. There's November 5th, and then there's all the legal battles until the electors certify the electoral college bullshit, which is in mid-December, and then the actual votes don't get certified. Or those electoral votes don't get certified in the Congress until January. Um, so all year I've been saying it's going to be a long year. We've got some good, exciting momentum. It's less gut wrenching. I don't feel like I'm going to vomit every day. So that's good. But there is no cause for celebration yet. We got to take this momentum all the way through the election and to the inauguration. And this is so beautiful. Inauguration Day is actually on Martin Luther King Day. I mean, how fucking cool would that be? Um, or how fucking cool is that going to be when Kamala gets inaugurated on Martin Luther King Day? Let's not get ahead of ourselves.